Story number 1. Island of the Ghosts. I moved to Bali Island, the island of the gods, just about 2 months ago. I've always been fascinated by spiritual things and stories, and Bali, well, is a very spiritual island. Balinese people always say that every inch of land in this island is a sacred land, and every feet of the land has spirits. That is very true. In the middle of July, I arrived at Ubud, a small, very spiritual city in the middle of Bali, where every house provided small offerings every day. Hindu ceremony happened almost daily, and there were still many small roads without lights and houses located between forestry and shrubberies. My boarding house was located on a small lane. It had 2 or 3 other houses near, but in front of and on the left side of the boarding house was either paddy field, thick shrubberies, or untouched forest. No lamplights to light the road at nights. And in the middle of the night, you could hear crickets, and sometimes the nearby roosters screamed aloud. People said that when roosters sounded in the middle of the night, instead of at sunrise, this was telling you spirits were near. No need to mention, I didn't have the courage to venture out after sunset. One particular night, I was lying on my bed, calling my close friend who lived in Kuta, near the famous Kuta beach. He tried to persuade me to move to Kuta, or somewhere around Denpasar, not cooped up alone in the middle of a forest. All of a sudden, the roosters nearby started screaming, one after another, and even the dogs were howling like wolves. It was a night of a full moon, but I wasn't really that scared because I was on the phone with my friend. Note that my room had modest furniture, only a bed, a standing fan, no drawers, cabinet, TV, not even an air conditioner, no place to hide. I started freaking out when the only light in my room shut off. There was a small bathroom in the corner of my room, and I could see the light from inside, indicating that the bathroom's door was opened. Except that I was 100% sure that I closed that door before. I always did that before going to bed since I was afraid. That if the door was opened, something might creep out of there. Now, the door was opened and the light was on. If it was electricity problem, shouldn't the whole house be dark? I only just changed the light in my room to a new white lamp, bought 2 days before, since the original lamp was yellow and dim. No way it could break so quickly. I told my friend the condition, and very sure he could hear the freaking out tone in my voice. But he still tried to soothe me, telling me to try checking the light switch. I did that in a panic. Couldn't think anymore and just do whatever I was told. And the light was on again. My friend said, "See, it ain't a ghost." That didn't soothe me one bit, because the lights turned on when I clicked the switch, meaning something had to have clicked it off while I was lying on my bed. Whatever it was, I guess it was not finished yet, because now the light in the bathroom turned off suddenly. I told my friend this new development, and he tells me again, "Don't be worried. It's just the electricity being strange. There was nothing funny about my situation. I guarantee you that. When I stare into the dark corner bathroom, I am just imagining something crawling out of there. Suddenly, and so sharply it makes me jump, right outside my window, another rooster screams. I go to my window and I open it and chase the rooster away from my window. "Go away," I yell at him as he runs off into the night. This is when my night became a nightmare. Simultaneously, I feel and I hear something. I feel a hot breath on my ear, and I hear a whisper, "La Par." I jump back against the wall where my window is, and I look to see a face staring at me in the dark. It is very close to my face, and I'm frozen now with fear. It smiles at me in the darkness, and in the silence, I hear it again breathing, and faint wheezing and chuckles. I stand here, not able to go anywhere. I am pressed into a corner. I cannot move without touching this thing. I'm terrified. I cannot leave. For the next hour of my life, which I was sure would be my last, I stand here face to face with this hideous thing, breathing into my face. Eventually, by the grace of the gods, a streetlight comes on outside. No sooner do I look to see it, and I turn back, and this thing, whatever it was, has left me. I broke down in tears. I was still processing what has happened to me. I am not exaggerating when I say I have never experienced fear that cold and gripping in my life. Never again do I hope to. It would not be until the next day when I would realize how lucky I was. Speaking with an elder of the community, I felt confident enough to share my story. As I tell her, she has a solemn look grow in her tired eyes. She tells me, "You are very, very lucky that you knew what to do." She means that I am very lucky that I stayed there and did not move when that thing is in front of me. I know now what would have happened had I panicked and ran at that time. It would have opened me. It would have consumed me. My everything. My intestines, my heart, my gizzards, my spirit, my soul, everything. This one, it is a malevolent spirit, one that feeds on fear and agony. Every day of my life, I think back to that night, and I feel that fear again. And I feel how close to my end I truly was. Bali is known far and wide as a very spiritual island. But not all of this land is beautiful. There are dark corners here that are best left alone. Story number 2. Ghost Kuyang in the trees. My paranormal experience was happening at central Borneo Indonesia. I am native in Borneo, and we are called Dayak people. This experience happened when my age was 15 years old, when we moved to our new house in Kuala Kuran, central Borneo. I have an older brother. He is already 17 years old. When we move out to our new house, it is already near dark. We just half finish unloading our belongings from the truck into our new house, and because our parents are still busy, we became bored. Without our parents' permission, we went to a river near a forest nearby, searching for any frogs that we could use as a toy or to eat. We're having fun collecting the frogs, and suddenly, my older brother freezes. His eyes look deep into the forest, and suddenly, my older brother said to us to be quiet because he hears some sound from the forest. The sound he heard, it's like a whistle, but it's too deep, too serene, and no one can do whistles as long as we heard. It's too long. Suddenly, I feel chills in my body, and not long after that, some light emanating from the forest. It was a woman's head, flying, with intestines, no lower body. It is what we Dayak people call hantu Kuyang. Me and my brother tremble with fear, looking at Kuyang, glowing with blood dripping from her intestines. We see her fly towards us. My brother, alarmed at that sight, pulls my hand. "Run," he said. And me, I don't need to be told twice. I run with my entire might towards our house. We run without looking back, because we know if Kuyang catch us, who knows what will happen to us. Luckily, our parents are still outside the house, unloading the stuff to the new house. Our father sees us running like crazy, and he sees that ghostly light after us. As fast as he can, my father grabs his fish spear, while my mother runs inside the house to grab a mundu blade. Two other people who are helping my parents unload stuff, they're grabbing stones and knives. They start to throw rocks to the light and immediately ask us to hide behind them. Me and my brother watch in shivers as Kuyang hovers high above our house, watching at us with its intestines dripping, flying high around us. Our parents and others, with all of their might, they throw rocks to the abomination as my father chants some prayer in old Dayak language as it hovers high above us. After around half an hour, at last the ghost seems to disappear, and after my father is sure the ghost is really gone, we go inside the house and we lock any windows and doors. We sure never walk to that place again. It still scares me and my brother to this day. Story number 3. Sleep paralysis. Hi, my name is Attica. I'm a 16-year-old living with my mother and my grannies. We have lived in our house since I was 6 years old, when my mum and dad got divorced. The house had 6 rooms. I slept in the same room as my mum. I was always scared to sleep alone. The front yard used to have a big guava tree. Some people said that they had seen a woman sat in its trunk if they walked past our house at night. I believed what they said because my mum used to tell me some stories about our house. She said our house had 4 ghosts. One was the woman in the tree. Second, a little girl. Third, a mute man. The last, a woman ghost that seemed nice and didn't bother anyone. The tree was cut down after some months, so I thought that there would be no more eerie things happening. I take my words back, since my family have experienced many eerie things after that. Firstly, there's a rule that the light in the living room shouldn't be switched off if my bedroom's light is switched off. One of the lights must be left on. If there is darkness, things will happen. One night, my grandpa switched off the living room's light, and my mum switched off our bedroom's light. It was about midnight, and my mum heard the bedroom door being opened and then closed, followed by what sounded like someone scratching the door. It was disturbing, so my mum went to check it. She thought it was my grandma, but after she opened the door, she only saw a woman standing in the darkness. But that woman she sees is most certainly not my grandma. She was scared and quickly turned the lights on. This woman slowly walks away when the lights are switched on. She does not look at anyone, only down at her feet as she shuffles away out of sight. I was so scared, I hid under the blanket, and my mum slowly closed the door again. Another time, I had this experience when I was back from school in the afternoon. I was exhausted, and I took a nap. Suddenly, someone drags their fingernails on my forehead. I was shocked, and I looked around my room, but I saw nothing. No one was in my room. I thought I was dreaming, so I came back to sleep. Then, there was a man's voice, whispering in my ear, "You are not wanted here." He seemed so mad. This again, another experience, happening 2 nights ago. I went to bed about 11 p.m. Both lights were switched off. My cousin stayed the night, so my mum said it would be fine. It was fine at first, but at midnight, I awoke with sleep paralysis. I couldn't move or breathe. I tried to, but I couldn't. I opened my eyes, and I saw something that frightened me deeply. I saw that the bedroom door was open. This is not only what terrified me, but what I saw there next. There was a glimpse of a little girl standing right next to my bedroom's door. I couldn't see clearly. It was all blurry. She makes shuffled movements. One moment, she stands very still. Then the next moment, she shuffles towards me. Still, I cannot move. I stare back at her, and she stares right back at me, standing there, silent and still. Then, once again, shuffling towards me. I'm terrified out of my mind. I don't know what will she do to me when she reaches me. Suddenly, a very fast movement, and she is right beside me. I then hear whispers right in my ear. It was the little girl's voice. She called my name, and she whispered something. don't know what she said. It's like she tried to tell me something, but I couldn't really understand. She spoke too fast. I was still trying to recover from my sleep paralysis. After some minutes, it was all gone. I got confused, since I'm the only one who usually experiences these things in my family. I hate it. I hate seeing them. I hate meeting them. I never know when I might wake to see them. Can someone help me? Please. Story number 4. Clicking. I was on a business trip with a colleague in Bogor, Indonesia, about 2 years back. While we were there, our partners arranged all our hotel bookings, and they booked us at an old-looking hotel, but one that was very well established. The partners even went as far as booking us our very own rooms, rather than sharing a room. I was happy, as I was not close to my colleague. I felt that I did not want to share a room with somebody I wasn't comfortable with. After dinner, we decided to rest early and went to bed. At about 2:30 a.m, I woke up because I needed to use the bathroom. When I was done and I was back in bed sitting, I began to hear footsteps by the entrance door. At first, the footsteps sounded as though somebody was creeping around because of how slow the sound of the steps were. I just sat there, listening. Then, the footsteps began to get faster. It was like somebody was walking very quickly. All I could do was just sit there, sit quietly waiting. As the steps got faster, it sounded like somebody was running. And just as I sat there, a figure of a woman appeared, running. It then stopped, right in front of my door, turned slowly, and looked at me. It was mere seconds that we stared at each other. It then turned back to the living room and started running forward again. And what's in front of her is the length of the living room and then the windows. I didn't hear anything more, but I did continue to just sit there quietly under my covers. I'm not sure how long I sat there, but when the doorbell rung, I just got up to open the door, and I saw my colleague standing in front of my door. I invited her in, and she just started crying. I asked her, "Is everything all right?" And she said that she experienced something quite scary. I wondered if perhaps it was anything like mine. She related the story of her waking up because she heard a loud bang outside her balcony, and when she went to check, there was nothing. Before going back to bed, she went to use the bathroom, and while she was in there, she noticed her bathtub curtain was closed. She thought that was odd, and she decided to open it. And when she opened it, she screams at the sight in front of her. There, sat in the bathtub and looking right up at her, was a pale and skinny woman. When my colleague screams and backs away, this woman twists her head to follow her and starts to stand up. She said it looks like this woman has bones that are broken, because when she is standing, her legs are disjointed and clicking. She did not remember how she managed to run out and to my room. That night, we slept in the same room, with the lights on. Story number 5. My haunted house. I am willing to share my real experience with the paranormal. I live in Jakarta, Indonesia, and already moved from house to house several times now. I will share the experience of what happened in 3 houses which are somewhat similar. The first house that I'm going to talk about has a rather interesting past. The house was an old church long ago. In the church, which is now the house, a pastor hung himself in a well. I found out about this horrible past during a farewell party. I was leaving my primary school and moving to a secondary school in the same city. Among my friends I have invited was my best friend. In the evening, when most guests were leaving, my friend's parents came over and sat in the living room. Whilst our parents were talking, my best friend's dad, let's call him Henry, experienced some kind of vision. He did not respond to anything we were saying, and we got worried. After a while, he responded, but he seemed different. He turned pale, and he was shaking all over. We asked him what happened, and he said he saw a vision of the house. The living room, where they were sitting, used to be a large hall with a large well in the middle. He said that something was hanging in the house. After that incident, my friend's parents were not willing to stay any longer, and they left. My family did not take that event too seriously. In the house, myself and my little brother had a room at the far end of the hall downstairs, with a sliding door to the swimming pool. In that room, I experienced something frightening. What happened was, late at night, I was still reading a book in my bed. My bed was facing the windows which led out to the swimming pool. I was getting ready to sleep when I heard the books shifting behind me in the bookcase. I was scared because at that time, everyone was asleep. I turned around and I looked around the room carefully, but no one was there. I turned back and I continued getting ready. Then it happened again, but this time a few books actually fell from the shelf. I got very scared now and I tried to wake my little brother, but I decided not to because he's not really going to be able to help. I tried to calm myself, but then I heard something by the window. I stayed in my bed, but I looked up at the window. At first I thought, this couldn't have been any member of my family. It was too tall. I didn't know how to perceive what I was looking at until a few moments later. It wasn't until that time that I realized it is not that it is tall upright from the ground. it is that this thing is hanging down from the roof, with its arms draping down to the ground that I thought was its legs. I push myself under my blanket and I'm crying. Then, all of a sudden, I get this aching feeling on the left side of my chest, and I could hardly breathe. I wanted to scream for my parents, but it hurts too much. I just keep breathing, slowly, and eventually, this feeling passes. When I peek out from under my blanket, this thing is not there anymore. But my bedroom window is opened. A few days later, I gather up my courage to tell my parents what happened that night. I didn't tell them earlier because they might not believe me. I told them about the incident, and guess what? They didn't believe me. Until a couple of days later. That time, my mum tells me what she had experienced the night before. She told me that when everyone went to bed downstairs, she went to get a cup of water in the kitchen. When she was done getting water, she left the kitchen and she saw the television in the living room turn on. She walked up to the TV and turned it off again. When she was about to walk downstairs, the television turned on again. She got annoyed and turned it off. Then, on the screen of the TV, she sees a reflection of a figure standing behind the sofa. She couldn't really make out who or what it was. Right at that moment, she turned around and there was nothing there. She got scared and she ran downstairs to her room. A few weeks passed and nothing out of the ordinary happened until my friend came over to my house. We were inside on the first floor, in the computer room, playing a game together. My friend needed to go to the bathroom, so I pointed him to the guest room. I always had a strange feeling in that room, but I didn't take that into consideration. My friend screamed and ran out of the house in fear. I was freaked out as well, and I followed him out. I asked him what happened. He said that he saw someone standing in the bathroom just across the room. I asked him what this thing may look like, and he said that the person looked too stretched out, like unnaturally long, and it was wearing black. After all of this, I'm always so scared to be in this house alone.